Guys, this is serious news. This has been doing the rounds on Twitter. Jim Ryan has thrown shade on Phil Spencer from Xbox. That is the head honcho of PlayStation versus Phil Spencer. And it's regarding the Activision acquisition, which is undergoing at the moment, as we all know. Now, this deal is currently undergoing intense scrutiny from regulators because they are fearing it's going to breach monopoly rules. So each of them have been called into court. They're talking through their case, saying where they stand on it. And this is what Jim Ryan went to the media on. This is his quote, word for word. I hadn't intended to comment on what I understood to be a private business discussion, but I feel the need to set the record straight because Phil Spencer brought this into the public forum, Ryan said. Microsoft has only offered for Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation for 3 years after the current agreement between Activision and Sony ends, which is, of course, next year. 2 years' time, sorry. After almost 20 years of Call of Duty on PlayStation, their proposal was inadequate on many levels and failed to take account of the impact on our gamers. We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality Call of Duty experience, and Microsoft's proposal undermines this principle. So, of course, guys, I want your opinions on this because Microsoft, as this stands, said they'd honour it for another 3 years after the agreement ends, which is equivalent to 2 Call of Duty games because it's going to a biannual series from here on out. And then they'd make it exclusive to Xbox and the Xbox ecosystem, taking it away from PlayStation, which is exactly what I was saying when this deal went through I would do if I was running Xbox, because it's the smart thing to do, even if you are throwing your money away. Guys, thoughts on this? Philip Hoy, I'm going to come across to you first. Initial reaction, thoughts. Give them to me.
I'm not the biggest COD fan, but I know COD has been a staple for years on PlayStation. And it'll be a massive shame if they do take it away at any stage. I don't think it's the wisest thing from a business point of view to make this exclusive in any way. And for them to say it remains only for 3 years after the current agreement between Activision and Sony, I still find that crazy. I don't know why they wouldn't extend it.
What about yourself, Spence?
I mean, I love Call of Duty. I love the series. I play it every single year. I buy it. I platinum it. I put so many hours into it and I love it every time. But as much as it'd suck to not have it anymore, who am I to blame Microsoft for wanting to keep it to themselves? If Sony had acquired them, Sony wouldn't have even given them 3 years. Sony would have locked it up frame one. Why shouldn't Xbox? As much as it sucks because it's not the system I play on, we acquire developers out the wazoo, and we make games exclusive all the time. Why shouldn't Xbox?
I've got a quick question for you guys. If this did happen and Call of Duty went exclusive, are you buying an Xbox to play it?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. I actually would. This is the kind of thing that Call of Duty now has become something that's such a staple for me. It's something that I really look forward to every single year. And I may get it, I may play it for 3 months of the year, but those 3 months are class. They are so much fun. And I'm not interested on playing on PC. I know I could get PC Game Pass and play that way, but I'm not that guy. It's too much work. I can't be asked to update drivers. I can't be asked to go through all that, sync a pad up, figure out my dead zones. I can't be bothered. I just want to put it in. It does the job for me. And if that costs me 250 quid to do, I will do it. I don't want to press Control Alt Delete close game. I don't want to double click to open a game. I don't want to do any of that bollocks. What do I play it on? Can my system run it on Ultra? Can it run it on Pro? Can it run it? I don't know. I don't care. I just want to be able to put it in and it work. And that's why I play on console. And so, yes, I would do that.
I love it when you talk about PC games. Absolutely love it. We need to encourage this much, much more. Incredible stuff. I need to update drivers. When was the last time you did anything on a PC? Like, ever played a game on a PC?
I played Halo Infinite on PC, and it didn't work with controller. It just flat out refused to work. My guy was spinning in circles, and so I had to go in and custom the dead zones, and then it would accelerate out of nowhere, so it became unplayable. And then I tried doing WASD, and it was unbelievable to me. I couldn't do it. So I did what I used to do on Alien vs Predator 2 when I played that online on PC, and I put it all to the directional buttons. Up, down, left, right.
Up, down, left,
And
right.
and it was just, I didn't have enough buttons to deal with. And so I was like, do you know what? I was like, do you know what? Fuck this. I'm not about this life. I'm not built for this. I'm just not. So I know my limits as a player, and I am not like Spencer's material. I'm not Krakatoa level when it comes to PC. I know where I am. I know where I live, and that's console, and that's the way I am.
That's the thing about PC gaming. You need a certain level of intelligence to be able to use WAS and D instead of up, down, left, right.
It's too much. There's too many buttons around it that I could accidentally hit. And I'm not about that. But the guys, the reason why I wanted to bring this up as like a big piece of news is because with Phil Spencer, he's the master of going out there and pulling the press and pulling the public and pulling the wool over their eyes and saying that we want games everywhere. We're a company that's going to make sure more gamers can play our games. And what do? They buy up the biggest fucking publisher in the world. They buy up Activision and then make those games now, as far as we're finding out, not for everyone, not for everywhere, just for their ecosystem. And then when you combine this with Bethesda, that gets me really worried. Because I've been thinking for a while that Doom, Wolfenstein, that they're not going to be coming out. And then I thought, well, maybe they will, because it makes business sense to still release it on the rival platform. But you've got the sweetener there with the Xbox Game Pass there being the, why buy it on PlayStation for $70 when you can come across to us for free or for your annual subscription cost? And that's what I thought they were going to go down. But seeing this where they're like, no, let's completely shut down the competition and take away a game, Call of Duty, which has such a lineage on PlayStation, such a lineage where it's the dominant platform, because obviously it's the biggest console in the PlayStation. So then say, do you know what? Fuck you 120 million people that play on PlayStation 4. Screw you. Screw all the people that play on PlayStation 5. This game's going to be the biggest game of the year. No questions asked. It'll sell way more than God of War will in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And say, oh, our future ones, you guys ain't getting it. I think if this was something that was Microsoft's own thing, their own IP, their brand new project being done by the Call of Duty team, cool. Make that exclusive, lock it down, keep it off. Totally understand it. But for something that has a lineage like this, to be able to say, we're going to support you, we haven't forgotten about you PlayStation gamers, Xbox may be our preferred platform, but we'll look after you. We'll make sure you're okay. Coming out on Twitter saying all this shit. And then actually the reality is, 3 years' time, see you fucking later, lads. I think that this kind of thing just really narrows down to me and just tells me what I already knew, which is a case of it's purely a business. And if you think that Sony were the only people doing this shit where they get this exclusivity deals and they lock it down, wake up. Because it's everywhere. And it's dog eat dog. And I will be amazed, absolutely amazed, if they don't walk this back. Because when you set the precedent of being that we're a paragon of gaming, we're the good guys here, and then it turns out actually you're just as shitty as everyone else, that harms your image. And I'm really glad that Jim Ryan's come out and said this, because it just shows that Microsoft are exactly what we all thought they were going to do. Exactly what they thought they were going to do. It's a business. They want to win. They want to take down the competition, and this is the easiest way to do it. Flash Big Daddy Microsoft, Big Daddy Word, his money, put that out there, and buy up these companies to really shut down the competition. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right that they should be buying publishers, and I don't want to see Xbox struggle, but I think a company the size of Activision, like I said at the time, should not be on the fucking market. Should not be on the table for any of these publishers, any of these console manufacturers to own. It's too big. It's too much. And as soon as we start rotting away all our third-party support, we're going to have nothing left. It's the same reason why I don't want Sony to buy Capcom. I don't want anyone to own these companies. It should be games for everyone. And unfortunately, guys, it looks like that could be long gone.
It'd be interesting to see how those numbers are reflected once they do pull the plug on PlayStation, and see if that jumps up in and relates to console sales of Xbox. You know, I was only talking to an Xbot this morning, and he was claiming that Call of Duty was going to be coming as part of the Xbox Game Pass. I'm not sure that's going to happen, right? But that's the mentality these days of Xbox. They just think every game is just going to launch on their platform and be just free to them. Is that a sustainable model? I just can't see the future in that. They need PlayStation, in my opinion.
I actually completely agree. I think, seeing as the acquisition's already like taking place, 100% Call of Duty will be launching day one on Game Pass. It will. But the issue that comes with that, and it might be maybe one of the reasons they're switching to biannual releases rather than yearly, is because their revenue is going to be dwarfed due to being day one Game Pass and not on PlayStation. No one's going to have to buy Call of Duty. Everyone's just going to play it on Game Pass, whether they're PC or Xbox, and there's no other way to buy the game. That's going to be all of their consumers getting it technically for free. Not really, you're paying a service, but you don't actually own the game. That's going to affect Activision's revenue, and they're not going to be able to afford to release a title every single year.
But they're going to have to do something else to drive revenue. They're going to do something else. There's going to be loot boxes. There's going to be season passes. There's going to be skins that they need to sell, or like themes or something. They're going to need to generate more revenue from this if they're going to be going on to Game Pass. And the game is going to suffer because all that development energy, it's going to be put into areas where actually, previous to that, we're so used to them developing great games. I see this as the downfall of COD. I really do, if they pull the plug.
I think you may be right on that, Phil. You just look at what they've done with Halo. And I don't mean to take this too much off into an Xbox, but it's very relevant here. You look at what they've done to Halo. Halo was the king of FPS. Obviously, COD 4 kind of came out and kind of took its shimmer, right? But
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike was always for PC nerds, mate. No one cared about Counter-Strike. It's just for PC nerds where they're sitting there with their sweaty, greasy top on, their sweaty, long hair, and they're doing their WASDs, and they're trying to get off the grated cheese that they bought in a bag that's all over the keyboard.
Just installing their drivers.
Sorry, boy, I'll be a bit late. I've got to install my driver. Oh, shut up, you wet fart. No one cares about that. That's all for losers, right? COD.
You wet fart is jokes.
COD and Halo were the boys back in the day. In the 2000s, they were the kings of the genre. They really were, in my console-centric eyes, right? Anyway, when you look at Halo, what's happened is that Halo launched free-to-play, and they had a huge take-up, massive take-up, biggest Halo launch ever, huge take-up. Even me, I was right on it, day one, cannot wait to get on it. The problem was that because they're trying to monetize it, they lock everything that makes Halo what it is away. They lock it away behind you having to buy camos, you having to buy skins, you having to, instead of having an actual progression system, you've got to do daily challenges, daily check-ins to be able to earn progression through a battle pass, which is by itself a shit thing, because as soon as you finish it, there is no more progression left. There is nothing else for you to do. So you just turn it off, you walk away, done. And then, when you see what they've done in terms of their support, where there's been no maps, there's been no community stuff, co-op now has been cancelled. All the things that were in the package to begin with are not there. And they're still not there nearly a year after launch. Having it on Game Pass and excluding the revenue that you'd get from the PlayStation system, which you could, because you can have both things run in tandem. Get all your money, milk the fuck out of the Sony people, while offering something better on your platform. Have parity in terms of release, so parity in terms of DLC, so you're milking both of your consumer bases, but have it so the one side you've got on your subscription that you're already paying for, so you can play your Rise, Son of Rome, and whatever the hell you've got on Xbox, and the PlayStation people where you're just milking the absolute crap out of them by charging them 70 quid. You can have that so that Xbox still look good compared. But at least you've got that revenue coming in from that side. Whereas not having any of it, you have to introduce some form of monetary detriment. Maybe it means that now Call of Duty doesn't launch with a single player. And maybe you pay for the single player separately. Maybe you don't get Spec Ops missions anymore. Maybe they come down the road in a battle pass. All the shit that we enjoy COD for those couple of months would come later because they're just trying to milk you. So you can have that Captain Price skin. So you can have that gold weapon skin that you used to earn from actually playing the game. Now you got to buy it. It will be shit like that. I think if they do go this route, it will destroy Call of Duty's lineage because they've already proven they do that with Halo.
My only issue with everything you're saying is that everything you're saying they're going to implement in Call of Duty and will cause the downfall, they've already been doing in Call of Duty since the launch of Warzone. Every Call of Duty we've had over the last however many years has had microtransactions, has had battle passes, has had buyable skins, has had map packs, we've had map packs since, Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops 1? They've been milking us dry for years, and we've been paying the lump sum to own the game. It's just, I think this is a case of, it won't kill the game. It's just, like you said, we will get more content over a spread out time. I don't think it'll be as severe as you're saying. It won't be like Spec Ops missions, or at least it will be the same amount we would have had anyway. And then they add more throughout, or more zombies maps, or multiplayer modes, or camos, or guns, or characters, stuff like that. I don't think it will be the downfall of the game. The main downfall will be because people are going to pay the microtransactions anyway. People do. It's just the lack of sales. That's where the big money comes in for Call of Duty, in my opinion, and that's gone. And that is going to be the downfall of the game. Because as much as people will milk the games, they will milk us. We will pay happily because the community loves this game. We love the content they give us. The revenue from buying the game doesn't exist anymore. And it is the best-selling game every single year. That revenue being deleted will yearly destroy Activision.
The downfall of the game is when you see fucking Goku turn up and he's going around the maps shooting his Kamehameha at people. That's the downfall of COD, and that's what I see as the future. They've got to do something to earn money. Something extra.
I fully get what you're saying there, Spence, in terms of, this is Activision. Of course they're going to milk us dry, right? But you think for £70 or £60, whatever you pay for COD year on year, you get a lot of content in that base game for that 70 quid. You get a single player campaign, you get a full multiplayer suite, which is finished with a lot of maps, with great guns, with great progression systems, and you get then a supplementary mode, be that Spec Ops, be that zombies, whatever, right? And you get that in the base package without having to pay any more than your 70. And then if you want to pay more, you can of course get battle passes and things like that to be able to give yourself extra skins. Looking at the Halo example, and the reason why I don't have the same faith that you do, it's a case that they launch with the multiplayer, campaign comes separately for a charge, which by all means, by all opinions, I haven't played it myself, by all opinions isn't that great. And then you get half the maps, you don't get to have any of the modes because they're on a rotation basis, and then you get, instead of a progression system, it's built in to monetize you because there's no other profit coming from that game. So you can't earn these things other than by just paying for them or doing stupid battle pass stuff, and that's the only way. And that's where I think that Call of Duty will end up going to supplement this, because they have to go microtransactions out the wazoo.
The only way that will happen, and it will follow suit with Halo, is because we know Activision, they release a stellar Call of Duty every single year, and they're switching to biannual every 2 years. You're telling me they have twice as much development time as they did, and they're going to be releasing us a quarter or a fraction of the game they used to. The only way that will happen is if they're developing Call of Duty, typing away, doing all the coding and shit, and then Phil Spencer walks in and he's like, whoa, slow down. You guys, you're too efficient. This isn't supposed to come out for 3 years. There's no way.
He'd be like, but let's have a think about this, COD. You've got 8 studios who are each chipping in on your game, and you were bringing in $3 billion a year, or whatever the hell Activision are bringing in. Now, you're actually only on the spreadsheet bringing in 250 million from microtransactions, whatever it is, because we don't have these sales there to back it up. So we can't give you the budget that we used to have. So now we've got to think about how we can actually keep player retention. And instead of milking them for 3 months of the year and then they buy another one next year, you've got to keep the same players coming back for 2 years on the bounce and keep that going. So it's a different monetization structure. And that's when you see the downfall, because then they can't say, we got 4 teams working on this big game because we know we're going to sell X number of copies at £70 a pop, and that's going to afford our development for the next title and the next one after that. And anything else we make on this is just going to go into Activision's back books. They can't do that because all that revenue's gone. So now they got a way smaller revenue stream, and it's a different structure. And that structure of how you fund your studio then completely changes. So it doesn't pay for you to put out all that content to start with, because you're not enticing them in, because you'll get a big influx of people. So as long as you keep giving them something to try and tide them over, and that's what Halo's done. And Halo has ended up, it's being played over, I looked at some stats for this before we recorded. Oh, it went from being played by 250,000 people on its launch in its first 24 hours to now being at 3,000. 3,000, it's dead, man. Absolutely, there's no one there. And COD will go the same route if it does change up too much. And I can't see how you can say to a studio that you've spent so many billions on buying a publisher and then still say, yeah, we'll fund everything the same way it was, but your income stream is actually cut by 3/4 because we're not releasing it here. I know they got Microsoft money, but that doesn't make business sense whatsoever.